Hello and welcome to Kicking Tires. My name is Jimmy,
And I'm Justin.
and today's February 2nd, and we got some automotive news to this week. Some really interesting stuff,
Yeah.
like car and driver saying a whole bunch of different things. We'll get to that. Gordon Murray released their T.33, which is like a cheaper alternative, but not so cheap. We'll get to that. The EV6 pricing was announced, and that's interesting because I'm kind of looking forward to that one. Aston Martin has their most powerful luxury SUV. If you don't think like Tesla. And of course, Koenigsegg has a little motor that they release that's actually really, really cool. So let's talk about that first. Because I mean, Koenigsegg, they make amazing hypercars, right? But this little motor here, it's it's going to propel, of course, their latest vehicles, but it's also like something I could see that they might be able to want to like maybe share with the rest of the world. Kind of how like I don't even know if you remember, but they had a Saab
No
where
camshafts.
no camshaft. Yeah, that's just it's cool tech that Koenigsegg make.
It's
So
pretty crazy engineering that they do, but it's like kind of underappreciated and they don't really effectively monetize it, it seems.
yeah, they really
Either.
don't. I mean, they did collab with uh something the Tesla something engineering. I can't remember exactly what they're called. On a bunch of like carbon fiber parts on like Tesla Model 3s. That was kind of cool. It looked pretty nice, but it's also super expensive. But this motor, we're here to talk about this motor. This motor is amazing. So it's 63 pounds. So it's super, super lightweight. It makes 335 horsepower and 443 pounds of peak torque. That's crazy.
The name is cool too.
The the Quark motor,
Quark and Terrier.
it's
Like I guess it's like just like a high energy small dog terrier. Like I guess that's what it's a small, energetic, and fearless demeanor. It is tiny. Like it is like the size of the terrier is the size of it, like a differential basically. And the quark is that the quark, the little one, the
the
flat one?
Quark is on the left.
Yeah, it's like the size of like a like in those
Couple of stacked.
cartoon, when you in like a cartoon when they have like a film reel and it goes in that case, it's the size of a film reel.
It's
Uh,
pretty small. Let's be honest. It's tiny, this little thing. But the power to weight ratio in this is phenomenal. Like if I can get one of these and slap it onto like, you know, any production car, put in some batteries, I can make a pretty amazing
mhm.
EV.
Yeah, because you're saving space, you're making a lot of power, and more space for batteries. It just makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks absolutely cool. The power that it comes that is peak power 335 and 443. It doesn't stay there. The power does drop off over time. I mean, you kind of assume it does, but it's not like it's designed to just work by itself, right? It's designed to work with tandem with a few of these motors. I think in their latest supercar thing that they made, they have like 3 of these
Mm.
along with internal combustion engine to power the vehicle. So like it's not going to be the main source of propulsion, but either way, super cool information, like super cool technology from Koenigsegg themselves. Like this, like stuff like this, we need stuff like this and better battery tech to
Mhm.
move into this new EV world. This kind of makes sense to me. Anyways, let's move on to something that's a lot louder. The Aston Martin DBX 707.
Yeah, it's like the complete opposite of the Koenigsegg, where Koenigsegg's trying to chase efficiency, power, and basically the future. Aston Martin's here, like, we need the most powerful thing. We're gonna be the Hellcat of luxury SUVs, and it's called the 707, but it makes 600 something horsepower.
Six 697.
Oh,
707 is a
707.
PS, so it's
Okay,
like, yeah,
it's a different unit. So it is 707 is the output.
yeah. It's
Fair enough.
900 Newton meters of torque, which is 663 pound-feet. It's the same 4-liter twin turbo V8 that you know and love from the regular DBX. The only difference is the turbos have been changed. There's a new exhaust system. It's been retuned. So, I mean, is anyone really still looking for like a super powerful SUV these days? Like, if you really want a quick one, wouldn't you just
Mhm.
go electric anyways?
Yeah, because 707, sure, that's a lot of power, but a Model S Plaid has been, that's over 1,000, and it's faster than this.
Yeah.
So if you want power, you go for that. If you want sound, like an Urus is, I think, 600 or so horsepower.
Yeah.
RSQ8's around there as well. Same with the Cayenne. It's like no one. I mean, the argument obviously is, oh, it's an arms race. You need to one up your buddy or whatever, and you just get, mine's got this plus that. But I don't know. I don't know if I really see the appeal in something like this. The Aston Martin SUV, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense either. But
I mean, Aston Martin, like their entire line is really sexy, right? Like their cars are always good looking. I don't personally feel the same way about the DBX. I don't think like I'm looking at this, I'm like, yes, that's a pretty
yeah,
SUV.
it's kind of
Like,
like they made it because they had to make it. I
yeah,
don't know.
it don't get me wrong. It's certainly nice, but I don't think it's the sexiest or the prettiest SUV that's on the market.
Yeah, I mean, they claim that this is going to be the fastest, most powerful, best handling, and most engaging car. That's a lot to, put up against Porsche and Lambo and Ferrari's working on theirs, and
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. Everyone is diving into this sport luxury SUV arena. Uh, Cayenne obviously being kind of the OG of the group, and they are the ones setting the Nürburgring records, right?
Yeah, that
So
Cayenne Turbo GT was pretty quick around the ring, so we'll see if this can beat it.
yeah,
But
I have my doubts that yeah.
they did put a few upgrades internally as well. There's a 9-speed dual clutch, comparing to or 9-speed wet clutch. I don't know if it's a dual clutch, but it's it just says it's 9-speed wet clutch, so maybe it's not a dual. Compared to the regular torque converted automatic that you get in the regular DBX. And also there is carbon ceramic brakes, 16.5 inch on the front, 15.5 or 15.4 in the rear. Those are some big brakes.
Kind of a must-have with high-powered SUV.
Well, I mean,
think.
Tesla doesn't have it. Tesla also
And
doesn't stop.
they're kind of paying for that. I think Tesla, just because it's the number that sells. We can do a 2.5 seconds 0 to 60. Whether or not you can stop from there, that's you're on your own. Yeah. They don't upgrade their brakes to match their power output, and that's not just with their SUV. Even the Plaid, the
Yeah,
Performance, like they have slightly better brakes than like the base models, but it's not a.
it's
You
not a
can
big enough
actually
upgrade.
option for carbon ceramics now on the Plaid, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they finally made it an option, but it's not so much of an option. It's more like you
it's not a
should
priority. It's
no.
really not a priority, and it's like you're paying 200,000 for something that doesn't have much going for it other than the acceleration. To me, that is kind of my take on those
Full self-driving.
on the Plaid. Yeah.
The DBX, you also get 22-inch wheels as standard. 23-inch is optional, so you can look super ballin' in your Aston Martin. I there's no real good pictures of the interior, but I'm not a fan of this interior at all. Oh, this is download. There's no good photos of the interior.
Oh, I have one, but
You have one? But like
yeah,
the only one that they show on their press release, it's just this one here. Just looking at the center console. The center console, it's like the old Mercedes. Because
kind of feels like AMG
well,
GT style interior.
well, the dial is the old Bmw Ix system. I don't think you
Okay.
call it the
It's
command
got the
system.
dial flanked with the circular buttons down the middle, so it is very Mercedes like that.
It's lifted from the Mercedes because it's the touchpad on top with the dial, the command dial right
Yeah,
underneath.
but even the
It's
buttons flanking it is Mercedes. Like
yeah, yeah,
look the shape, like they didn't have to put it that way. I get it that the mouse has to be that way, but uh just the way it's integrated is quite Mercedes.
yeah.
The shape is just not. It doesn't have the presence. Like I don't even know how to describe it of the interior, but it's like it doesn't stand out and doesn't like wow you either. Which I think at this price point you ought to feel a little bit more special. It's not even about like having like nice material. I'm sure the materials are great. And because it's a Mercedes system, it's probably more user friendly than other more boutique makes.
Yeah,
And
whatever
it's
they
probably
can
more
come up with.
reliable. But yeah, no, the shape is just not that. Doesn't feel expensive, I
No,
guess.
definitely not. It's yeah. I don't know how to feel, but like I saw maybe one on the road thus far, and I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. But
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like
mm,
I used to be very on top of like, okay, this car costs this much, this car costs this much. And I saw the DBX and I see cars like the Levante and I'm like, I have no idea how much these cars cost because it's it's it could be 100,000, it could be 150, it could be 400,000. Like there's just the sky's the limit and it's just whatever it sells for is what it sells for. And it's like it's one of those things where you're not really looking for the value. The value is in the dollar amount, the MSRP. And it's just, oh, I'm buying this because it's expensive. And I can't say, I can't pinpoint exactly where this is price wise. Uh, Whereas like something like a Rolls Royce Cullinan, right? Like that, that's not something you can get for 250 grand. Like that
yeah,
is you
that's
see that
500,000
and
for
you're like,
sure.
oh, this is half a million, if not more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get confused by cars like the Aston Martin because I'm like, okay, well the tech is hand me down, the engineering is hand me down, the interior is nice, but it's not like that impressive either. And so it's like where they price it, I really have no idea. It just depends how exclusive they want to make it and what people are really willing to pay for it. Uh,
Well, I can tell you exactly how much it costs. $235,000.
that seems reasonable, honestly.
I don't even know anymore. I don't know how much a Porsche Cayenne Turbo
A
GT is these
loaded
days.
Cayenne is up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I mean, this is the competition is Porsche Cayenne
Yeah.
Turbo GT,
Urus
the
is
Urus. Those are
Urus
the
is
main
about
two.
is around 250 to start, but they go up from there. So um yeah, so it's in that range.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if Urus is 250 to start, then this is definitely not that bad, considering that it should be faster and whatnot. And Aston Martin named a heritage in it. It's I wouldn't say it's just as good as a Lamborghini, but it's pretty up there.
The Urus has something which is like it has a very distinct look. I don't think it's a pretty car. I actually don't like the way it looks, but it you pull up in that and it's like, okay, that's a
All
Lambo.
eyes
Like
on
you
you.
don't mistaken it for anything. It does grab a lot of attention, and it's why all the rappers gravitate towards that. The
Well,
Aston
it's just
is
because it's a Lambo. Like you just say the name, right?
Yes, it's a flex in itself, but an Aston is a flex too. But I think that the DBX looks a little bit more generic, whereas the Urus is very, very Lambo. Like, people complain like, oh, well, this is like, it's a Q7, it's a Cayenne, but you see it and you're like, there's no mistaking like what it is.
Yeah, definitely not. Speaking of no mistake, if you take a look at this thing, you'll be mistaken in it for some sort of kit car. Because Gordon Murray revealed the next vehicle that he has, which is the T.33. So it was a little while ago. He released a T50. This T.33 is the more affordable variant of the Gordon Murray vehicle collection that you can buy at only $1.85 million.
US dollars.
That's which is like 5 million Canadian with our conversion rate right now. I, I get it.
You
Gordon
guys need to
Murray.
Google this T33 Gordon Murray, or just type in T33 supercar, because it's just words can't describe how underwhelming it looks. Because this is a $2 million hypercar thing,
Supercar.
hypercar,
It
whatever
can't.
you
It
want to
can't go to
call it.
hypercar category because it's not powerful enough.
Okay, yeah, because it's only a 3.9 liter V12 made by Cosworth.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess the party piece is that it revs to 11,000
Yeah.
or 10,500 RPM.
10,500 is the red line. It makes 607 horsepower there.
That's really not. I
But
mean, the McLaren F1 made that much power.
but at 9,000 RPM, you get peak torque at 332.
The
I mean,
McLaren F1 made 618.
peak, I'm peak torque at 9,000 RPM. This reminds me of driving like an S2000. Like,
Yeah.
you have to rev it out a little bit. But he did say that I think it was like 200 and some odd torque, or 200 and something pound-feet is around 2,500 RPM. So it's not as bad as like, fully revving it out. But, it's a small V12, right? So it's known to, you're going to expect it to rev, which of course it does. And I'm sure it's going to sound absolutely insane at 11,000 RPM. But yeah, it's going to be available in automatic as well as manual. The auto is actually a little bit lighter. It does, yeah, it doesn't have the T50's that fan that he has in the back to assist with the aerodynamics and the downforce of the vehicle. So this is a standard kind of, I wouldn't say road going, but like it's just regular aerodynamics compared to T50's kind of fan generated ducting type aerodynamics. But yeah, it's like you said though, it is a little underwhelming to look at. It just looks like a car. We kind of talked about this.
T50 was better.
Yeah,
the T50 still doesn't look like a $2 million plus supercar, but it's better.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this before the show, and you said it kind of looks like a C4 or C5 Corvette with just someone sticking body panels on it.
This reminds me of like the early 2000s when we saw cars like the Nobles, the Salines, those type of cars that like they're kind of barn build looking, but like nice-ish, like a Callaway something or other, Hennessy something or other. But those cars were not priced at $2 million. And the T33 makes no sense because the T50 is the big daddy, right? The T50 is the high-end model. That's the one you buy. But this is the budget option that's $2 million. Like, you don't have the flex because you bought the cheap one. You couldn't spring for the T50. Like, at that point, what difference does it make? Why bother making a cheaper variant? Because I could buy like every Porsche, every Ferrari, or at least like two of each I can buy a Lambo, I can buy a Ferrari, an Aston, and a Porsche for under the price of this so quote unquote budget variant. Like it's so weird, and I don't really get it. I don't know if it's because Gordon Murray's getting up there in age, and people are like, when this guy dies, his delusional pièce de résistance is gonna be worth so much. And like I think people there's this culture now where people just it's not about you know traditionally uh value base I don't know features like performance or looks. Like this thing does not perform, it can't perform up to a $2 million level. It does not look like a $2 million car. The interior is not that of a $2 million car. The build quality, being a small company like a startup basically, is not going to be of a $2 million quality. It's not a Pagani, right? Like not every Pagani, say what you will about them, but like their build quality is insane. Koenigsegg, we talked about them earlier. They're doing things that surpass the mainstream manufacturers as well, even though their volume is also very low. But a lot of people these days are just looking at things and buying things because they speculate that maybe this is going to hold value. This is because something like this T33, it's so rare that because I just can't imagine anyone buying them, that the few that do, they're going to be so rare that they have no choice but to go up in value. And a lot of people that are shopping in this category are probably like, it's just like buying art that, when you buy a painting that, one is like something that you would hang in a museum, one is like a white canvas with a stripe down it, and like, oh, it's $3 million. And it's some weird tax slash rich guy thing that it's like it's very underwhelming, but for some reason it's worth this much, and you hang on to it for 2 years, it's worth even more. And it's a weird subculture that we obviously don't understand.
Sounds like
But
NFTs.
it's like, yeah, it's like NFTs. And I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to give it more attention than it deserves. But yeah.
So here's some more facts about this car that you might be interested in. It weighs 2,400 pounds, which is about 220 more than the T50. Of course, it has less power. The auto trans is 9 pounds less than the manual gearbox. So you save 9 pounds if you go with the auto trans compared to the manual, which is weird to me because auto's always been heavier. So I don't exactly understand why. Because it's a 6-speed. Maybe
This manual is probably like a traditional unit lifted from some like Getrag or some like mainstream manufacturer, whereas like the automatic it
X-Track
might be like a F1 or like racing unit, which is why
weighs
specifically
a little bit.
motorsports derive. So yeah.
Here's something that's interesting. There's 9 cubic feet of luggage room. Supercar territory, because that's how you can tell it's a supercar versus just a GT. And oh yeah, it's tiny. If you don't know, this thing it's the size of a Cayman. It's actually a little bit bigger than the 718 Cayman, as the Car and Driver article has there. So it is a very, very small vehicle, but like Justin said, it's a niche vehicle that like only the ultra rich is gonna buy, and it's gonna sit in someone's showroom.
Yeah, and I think I kind of get it in the sense that okay, the McLaren F1 is now unobtainium, right? People can't buy them. They're going for $20 million, so they're at the next level. So what came after the McLaren F1? So this is to follow that succession, I guess. Obviously, there's a whole McLaren lineup that is more affordable than this and more impressive than this, and is a to me, it's a bigger flex than this. But everyone is trying to get like, I want the next of this, and the McLaren is exclusive. The F1 was exclusive. It was, but it was known, like it was a household name in the '90s that like everyone had a model of it because that was like the game changer. Where this isn't. So just because it's built by Gordon Murray and it captures a lot of the same philosophies behind it in 2024 when this is set to release, I just don't think it has the it's not going to captivate a whole generation like the F1. So it's not going to have that I mean, let's put it this way, right? Everyone jumped on the Lucid bandwagon. Why? Because they saw Tesla explode, right? Like this is like I'm talking about the stocks here. And Lucid, a lot of people did make money on Lucid uh in recent history, but everyone was like, I want the next one of this because it's a crazy investment. If you bought an F1 in '90s dollars or even early 2000s dollars, you're making bank today. You've 10x'd. But I don't know. I think everyone is so toxic and focused on dollars and investments that you get really mediocre products like this. I feel like, and it just that's all it is. Like Rolex could make anything and anyone would just buy it. Like all it needs is to have the name on it and people would go and buy it because oh it's gonna be worth more and it's just the safest investment I could make. Like okay, but you're not actually into the quality or the timekeeping aspect of it. And like same with the supercar, you're not into the objective, you know, measures of what makes a quality supercar.
Yeah.
Rant.
Well, the F1, one of the biggest things of the F1 was that centralized driving position as well, which the
Yeah.
T50 also has, but unfortunately the T33 doesn't have that. You're driving
The
on the
T-
left side. It's
I
like
don't know who this car is for.
you lose all those aspects. So like yes, it is a cheaper variant, but I just don't see this becoming like that worthwhile to kind of hold
Yeah,
on to.
it's completely unviable as
Yeah.
a supercar because there's just too many good alternatives these days.
Speaking of good alternatives, a Kia EV6. So yeah, perfect
What?
segue. The information that got released today, or actually I think it was today, are the models. So we knew the EV6 was coming out. We saw the EV6. We liked the EV6. I think it's a pretty good looking EV, and it's a strong contender compared to the Ionic 5 as my next vehicle, because if I'm looking for an EV, I think those two are one of the two vehicles I'm gonna get. So they released the pricing and the trims that you can get. So base price, it's a rear-wheel drive standard range, which is 373 kilometers of range roughly. That's 45,000 Canadian dollars. That already comes with like lane keep assist and a lot of the driver safety information. It has the standard dash, which is like a 12.3-inch infotainment along with the
Is it upside down though?
what's upside down?
The dash.
Oh, we'll worry about that later. Another 12.3-inch cluster, like it looks good, and it's 45K, like I said. So 45K is pretty good, to be honest, in terms of pricing. It's completely in line with Ionic 5, which also starts at 45K. But the Ionic has one up, which is called the Preferred at 47K, and that one comes with the heat pump, which here in Vancouver you kind of want. In order for you to get that for the EV6, you have to go with a long range. So 500-kilometer range to get the heat pump, and that's 53,000 Canadian, which is $1,000 more than the long range of the Ionic 5. So once you step up, the key is a little bit more money there. When you want to go all-wheel drive, it's the same price. So it's 55 for the EV6, 55 for the Ioniq 5. But then
That's
Kia,
before rebates. And
this is before rebates. All pricing is
a
before
lot of
rebates.
car for the money, I think.
But then when you go for the top trim, that's where it kind of goes a little bit weird because Kia has two top trim. They have a GT Line Package 1 and GT Line Package 2. So if you get the package 2, then it comes with most of the information that the Ioniq 5 comes at, and that's at 60,000, which is $2,000 less than the EV6. So it comes down to like, which trim you're looking for. Some trims, the Ioniq is a little bit better. And the others, really, it's the same compared to the EV6 here. But okay, this is what I was thinking, like actually in the afternoon today. A lot of automakers, like mostly German automakers, you're able to get the base engine with the top trim like features. A lot of German automakers do that. But like Hyundai, Honda, basically anyone else, they don't. You have to step up to the top trim to get the toys. Like, I don't necessarily need 441 kilometers of range. I'm okay with rear-wheel drive and 373. But for me, like, I really want a sunroof. I can't get the base $45,000 version. I have to step up to 62,000 to get a sunroof.
Oh, even the oh wow, yeah, I see that package 2.
Yeah,
I guess I don't care about a sunroof, but
of course you don't.
yeah.
My son loves looking like any car that has that panoramic roof. He's looking up. He loves it. So like the sunroof is almost like a must-have.
You
But
could go to Home Depot and buy yourself a reciprocating saw.
reciprocating saw, some plexiglass, and just DIY. I
Yeah,
might have to end up doing that. I mean, 45K versus 62 to step into a sunroof.
yeah,
Because
that's annoying. Yeah, I don't know why the Asian manufacturers love to do this. Is they really force you to step up, and at 62, it's like, dang, that's Audi Q4 price, Q4 e-tron price.
yeah, it is.
Like it's the entry point of that, and that only tops out at 72, which is pretty reasonable for that brand of vehicle. But,
This has more power though, I think it was.
mm,
Actually, no, it's a GT line. It's not. I think this is actually about the same.
yeah, I don't expect it to be significantly faster. Now, between the Ioniq, I know you're talking about how they go back and forth in terms of trims and
Yeah.
value. So the trims typically that's someone in Canada's decision to how to spec them out, how they're gonna bring them into North America or Canada specifically. Like I know in the States sometimes they don't get like heated seats in the lower trim, but here you do.
Mhm.
And just cars are spec'd a little bit differently here versus in the States. But I think ultimately it will really boil down to styling preference because the two cars look very different, which I think it makes a lot of sense. Whereas like if you see the ID4 and the Q4, they're they're cousins. Like you can tell those are cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as bad as like 90s, like Tahoe and
Yukon.
Yukon. I couldn't remember the name. Like, it's not as
Yeah.
bad as that, really, just slapping on a grill and calling it a day. But you can
Yeah.
definitely tell. But like this, like, you know, most people wouldn't be able to tell the two vehicles are related.
Wait, the EV6 GT can do a 3.5 second 0 to 60?
Yeah, the GT, but this is GT line that
Oh,
we
this
only
is
get.
not even the real GT.
No, the real GT
Oh,
comes later. That has like 400 or 500 horsepower. I don't know, something like that.
576.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh,
That's
okay.
coming later. That's the
So
full
really,
fat
it's not
GT.
that impressive. At 60K, it's really you're just paying for the range, which is still respectable. I think at that price point, it's still really solid to get an all-wheel drive, loaded
Yeah, I mean,
thing.
if you compare it to let's say Tesla. I mean, this is technically an SUV, so you should compare it to the Y, but
Maybe the
a th-
Y standard range
yeah,
that we
but
had
like
a
a
while back.
three standard range is already 60.
Mm,
So, for the same price, you're getting all-wheel drive, more power, and more range.
yeah. So this is doing a 6.2 second 0 to 60 from what I can see.
More than
Which
respectable.
is a little bit faster than a Q4 e-tron. A little bit.
But, when you go to dinner party and then, your friend comes along, haven't seen you in a while, and say, "Hey, what are you driving these days?" Then you have to say, "See,
Yeah.
I drive a Kia, but before you start judging me, it's not like
It's $60,000.
it's you paid 60 for a Kia."
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. So
But
like, yeah, when you say you spend 60 on an Audi, it's like, oh, that's pretty
it's
good.
pretty reasonable. Like the
Yeah.
Q4 is really well priced. I think the ID4 is really well priced, and that's kind of like just a brand value alone. Kia infamously is the knockoff Audi in many
it,
ways.
it really is.
And they purposely did that. Um, I I don't know. Okay, I guess there's a few concerns. One is actually let's go back to you. I mean, you're considering both of these vehicles. Which one do you prefer styling wise?
Oh, it's so hard. It's
I
so
like
hard.
features of both. For me, I kind of think the Ionic style is it's unique. It looks futuristic, and I think it will age a little bit better to me.
Like, so, um, the movie How to Train Your Dragon?
Yes,
The EV6 for some reason has that look to me, like
it has
Toothless.
eyes. Yeah,
Like
it has
it's
eyes and teeth. It has
especially the
fangs.
base model, because it has that kind of
It's
mouth on the
literally
bottom.
toothless. Yeah.
So because of that, it to me that's kind of cute. I like that. So I don't. But the Ionic, okay, so unless you step up to the top trim on the Ionic, it comes with this black plastic cladding on the side, and it just doesn't look as good compared to the top ultimate trim, where you get that in silver, and you get the the lights on the grill. Like, it just looks a lot better when you step up to the top trim. Ionic,
Yeah, I don't mind the black cladding.
there's something about the black cladding that doesn't look that great to me on the Ionic. I just
I
I
So
just
the
don't
reason
feel it.
I like the Ionic 5 styling, I think is subconsciously all these years, like throughout the 2000s, I always looked at the JDM cars, like the K cars or the little minivans that they would get. Um, and it reminds me of that like neo futuristic like era, like just post 2000s when everything was boxy and LED and like just that generation that we never got here in North America. And that to me is why I think I have an attraction to the Ionic, because it just reminds me of that what in 2000s we thought a futuristic car looked like.
Yeah, it's very pixely, like the
Yeah.
headlights, taillights, like everything is kind of this blocky pattern that's inside. It does look really good, and in person, I don't mind it at all.
Yeah,
But the EV6 just looks more like a car.
it does. It's
Um,
more it's got curves to it.
yeah,
It's less robotic.
uh,
Yeah,
and then the
it's more
back
organic.
end on the EV6, I think that's where I like it the
It's
most.
polarizing. I think the back end is it's gonna win people and it's gonna lose people. Like,
Yeah, it definitely will, because that kind of piano key style taillight is definitely not everyone's kind of cup of tea. But
and the mustache handlebar thing.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's definitely not everyone's thing. But I personally do like it. I think it's so unique and so different. As for the interior, it's kind of a mixed bag, because the EV6 comes with, it looks like at least the GT model comes with really nice seats.
Hmm.
And I like how the dash kind of wraps around you.
I
Whereas
like the
the
black bezels for
yeah,
one. We were
the
talking about it earlier this week, and the
we,
Ionic, just the thick white bezel is just not a that is also the 2000s look that I'm talking about. It's like, remember like the Sony Vaio laptops in like the early 2000s that they would have those funky colors, a lot of white, gloss white plastics,
Yeah.
first generation Android tablets. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And then the center console on the EV6 is more traditional, which I also like compared
Mhm.
to the Ionic. Because the Ionic has nothing in the middle. It's basically just a sliding tray, essentially.
Now I'm wondering, okay, did they compromise by, you know what, we gotta make these two cars very different, like, as different as we can with the
Mm.
same engineering underpinnings, and I feel like there's just a lot of give and take with both. There's like we like a
Yeah.
little bit of this on this car, we like a little bit of this on. I feel like is there still room for two brands like this? Because not many people are still doing it, right? Like not in the sense that obviously like a Lexus and a Toyota, that's different. We're talking about like I don't know, a Scion XD versus a Yaris, and it's just like, but both are mediocre in that case. But I don't know. I don't even know what to. It's like the GM badge engineering of the 90s and 2000s, and I don't know if it's necessary to have two brands, two separate marketing departments. You know, it's a lot of expense, and it's like, could you really just get away with making one? But now that both brands have so much traction, like over the last 2 decades, or well, maybe specifically the last maybe 1 decade, I guess, is they've made so much stride in terms of market share and who they really are. Both brands have a respectable identity, but I'm just wondering, like, would we have been better off just having one brand to begin with?
Well,
Like,
don't
if we could
forget,
go back.
don't forget. There's also the Genesis GV60 that is exactly the same as well.
Well, no, you see, Genesis, I'm okay with. Like, I
Mm.
don't think that the content that has a direction, right? Well, not the GV60, which we talked about before, because it's like this is the luxury version, but it looks the cheapest out of the three.
It does.
Um, but the Genesis brand still makes sense, but it's just like, okay, these two, they're getting a little bit too close, and it's confusing to buyers, and it's just if we could pool our budget together and just make one set of sheet metal and interior trims, it would cost a lot, and they could really undercut some of the Japanese competitors, German competitors,
It's yeah,
whoever. So
it's definitely possible.
I think this car is that really polarizing one. I don't think people need like a sporty one and a more classical version, which is kind of what Hyundai Kia is. Um, I don't know if you guys can hear my dogs. They're fighting underneath.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Don't you worry. We can definitely hear
Oh
them.
no. But yeah, I that is kind of my dilemma with the Ionic brand and the Kia brand is like I feel like something's got to give at one point. We're just gonna be like, hey, let's put our money towards engineering. I think because I do want to say you had a Kia before, and I'm surprised you would go back.
It was a really bad dealer experience. I don't want to go back to that dealer ever again. But the brand itself has been fine, other than that engine was supposed to grenade on me. But
Well,
that's
and
fine.
that was a whole generation of Hyundai Kia buyers, right? Like that's not you're not you're not the anomaly there, I think.
No,
Uh Let me just
I
eliminate the
I I
distraction.
bought that car simply because of the design. So
Mhm.
I had a 2011 Optima, which was redesigned in 2010 by Peter Schreier from Audi, and I went for it because of the looks and everything you can get. It was
Mhm.
2011, and I had heated and cooled seats up front, heated seats in the back, panoramic sunroof. Those are things that were just like astonishing to me. I was driving at that time a 99 Honda Accord.
Yeah. Well, and the styling was so good that it kept up for 10 years almost,
Yeah,
that car. Whereas Camry, Accord, like they all changed design. Even the Sonata changed significantly over that 10-year span.
Yeah.
Sonata changed like every 2 years somehow. Again, it's like, where is this money going? Could this money be better spent had we just done it right and like left it? Uh, you know, but yeah, because you're not the only one with kind of concerns about Hyundai Kia engineering and reliability, right? Like they have a decent warranty, but like even yesterday, I literally had a customer bring in a Kona electric, and they're like, "Yeah, I had like she had a battery issue. Well, she came in for a dash cam yesterday, but the battery issue she had a few months ago, unrelated. We before she ever came into us, but the battery was replaced under warranty for that electric, and it was 16,000 like under warranty, but it's a $16,000 repair, and it's like,
Mm.
what if I'm out of warranty, right? Like I'm hooped for that, and it's
Yeah.
like the problem is Hyundai Kia were not that upfront with how bad their turbo engines were until like social media had no choice but to expose them. They're firing people left, right, and center this last year for sharing that, because like they would make a TikTok of their dealership. You know, if you're a tech work at dealership, our
Oh
hoists
yeah, I
are
saw
all
that.
occupied because when you pull an engine out of a car, guess what? It's stuck there until your replacement's in. Which there had so many cases where ECUs were dying, engines were dying, and it's just graveyards of warranty claims, and these are not small warranty claims. And it's just like that to me is my biggest concern with Hyundai Kia is, can they make a sustainable vehicle that I can
Well,
have for 10 years?
the good news is there's no turbos on these.
But like I said, they haven't had the
Yeah.
best of luck with their Kona electric already.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, but I'm like, dang, that's not a good start. And I
Well,
feel like there is some quality control oversights with this brand, like the upside down dash.
oh
It,
yeah.
they issued a recall. So in other news, in other Hyundai Kia news, this week they issued a recall because some models, I think maybe a Santa Fe, that the dash decided to just flip upside down. Apparently, there's software bugs. Like Honda has a bug right now because of the year, month, and day is
Oh yeah.
02/02/2022, and like your clock gets stuck or something, and you just gotta wait until it fixes
Yeah.
itself.
My
Uh,
parents' RDX has that problem right now.
yeah, so there's like random soft like Y2K level bugs that really shouldn't be happening, but yeah, upside down speedometer and stuff is kind of trippy. But yeah, I just feel like there is a lot of potential for, I don't know. It's just you really got to do it right, and you got to build confidence in your buyers. And I feel like they've already offended a whole generation and chunk of the market share. And their cars are not that cheap anymore. That's the
No,
other thing.
really not. Well, let's move on to the final thing here, which is Car and Driver's Editor's Choice: the best new cars, trucks, SUVs, and minivans. So Car and Driver released this on February 1st, and uh, let's just say some of these things are some of the cars that they selected is a little controversial, and
Yeah.
this is kind of weird.
So the
But
the whole editor's choice thing. Okay, the reason I wanted to bring this topic up is because some manufacturers, like Stellantis, I think VW as well, like a few different manufacturers started bragging about, hey, we're featured on Car and Driver's, editor's choice list. But the editor's choice list is not like Motor Trend Car of the Year or
or
any kind
10
of Car of
best.
the Year or 10 best. It's just like it's not very limited. Like each category, like each segment has multiple vehicles, and you're not necessarily in the best company sometimes. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a few things that stand out to me, but you can check out the list on Car and Driver. But we'll go through some of the ones that stand out to us, I guess.
I mean, okay, so I'm gonna start right from the beginning. Compact SUV, they pick four. Hyundai Kona, Kia Soul, CX-30, and the Volkswagen
Subcompact SUV.
subcompact, yes, and the Volkswagen Taos. The Soul's not really an SUV. Let's be honest. It's
Hey, it's more of an
kind of like a
SUV than the
hatchback.
Kona.
It's kind of a hatchback. Kona's pretty much a hatchback as well. The
Yeah.
CX-30, I get why that's there, but it's expensive, and they don't say that. The CX-30, it's pricey when you start to add on, especially that turbo motor. It's pricey for what it is, because it doesn't really compete in that subcompact segment anymore. It's more of that luxury subcompact. And then the Taos, I haven't driven the Taos, so I can't really say much about it. I have the
House
Kona
has
actually.
a lot of potential. Like I've seen the reviews. It makes sense to me that it would be on there, but yeah.
I have the Kona this week, and between the Kona and the Seltos that the Kia has, which is Kia's version of the Kona, the Seltos is better because Seltos can actually carry people inside. The Kona's tiny. The Seltos actually makes more sense.
Yeah. So the Seltos should be on there. Kicking tires, you heard it here first. We are better at making lists than Car and Driver. Moving on.
Subcompact luxury SUV. So they have the X1, the X2, and the XC40. The XC40 I get. It's pretty good. X1 is basically a BMW face on a Mini Cooper Countryman thing. X2, no, I don't think the X2 should be there.
The X2 makes no sense. Like X1 is dated, but there just isn't that much competition here. But I don't know who at Audi pissed them off because I would I would put a Q3 here before I put an X2 in here.
The Q3 actually suggested one of my friends to buy a Q3 because I found out exactly how much it was, and how much standard features you get, and I was astounded by how much you get for the base Q3.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong with the Q3.
Yeah, the X2 on the other hand gets quite expensive. You don't get very much standard at all, and yeah, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't make sense to have. Okay, it doesn't make sense to me to have 3 cars in this category because the whole segment has maybe 5 cars. So 60% of the market is the best, quote unquote.
I would, and honestly, I would say the GLB is probably the one I would pick, simply because of just the practicality that you can get with the GLB and how quirky it looks. The engine isn't any better or worse than the others, but
they're all okay.
Yeah, but if I was to pick something in that segment, I think the GLB would probably be higher on the list.
Higher than an X2 for sure. So
higher than X2
someone
and
at Audi and someone at Mercedes may have pissed someone off at Car and Driver, but that's only the beginning of this list because that's not consistent with the rest of this list.
The next lineup is the best. So compact SUVs. So
there are 7 here. How many compact SUVs can you even think of?
We got the Bronco Sport, the CRV, the Tucson, the CX-5, the RAV4 Hybrid. Yeah, it's that good. It's on here twice, and the Tiguan. So, okay, what's not on here? So
Nissan Rogue,
the Nissan Rogue, the Kia, what is it called? Sportage. But the reason why that's not on there because the new one isn't out yet. And the old one, it's been like 5 years, so I get that. What else? You got Honda,
Forester,
Tucson, Ford.
The Forester is a really good. Like they just upgraded it a little bit.
The Escape's not on here, which I mean, I would personally take the
Escape
Bronco
Hybrid
Sport.
is solid though.
Escape Hybrid is good. And they have the plug-in hybrid if you don't want all-wheel drive.
Like the CRV is so old now. Like, how is this still on this list?
No, the CRV shouldn't be here.
I don't know. This list is it boggles my mind.
The Tucson I get. The Tucson's pretty good.
But
Bronco Sport I get.
7 top picks in a segment of 10, 11 cars. Again, 60% passed and are top picks.
They put CX-5 on here, but for the lows, they don't put how small it actually is. The
Or how
CX-5 is
bad it is on gas.
that's fine. No one cares about gas. But the CX-5 is laughably small in the rear seats. Like comparing to the rest of that
Yeah,
segment, the
especially a
CX-5 is really
Forester.
small.
Like, how do you overlook the Forester? Like, the Forester is quite the leader in it, but I can't. Well, the engine is really slow in the Forester.
The engine is bad. Let's be honest. But
Yeah,
is it?
but overall, as like a car, it is like a good car. It's reliable. It's reasonably efficient. It's huge inside.
Yeah.
It's very capable off road for what it is. And it's like well priced and has amazing residual value. Like you can't go wrong with a Forester.
No, you
And
really
it's not
can't.
in there. Like,
And
yeah,
you know the
we're
other
not
one that
Subaru fanboys either. But
you know the other one we like, the Outlander, is also not on here.
yeah, it's just ugh.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on from that. Compact luxury SUV. First one. All right.
The first one has to be a joke, or they're just paid off by Stellantis because
Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio is their compact luxury SUV.
they probably sold like 10 of these in North America
Why?
last year. It's like no one buys this car, and this should not be on any list.
Like, I get it. I love to drive it myself. It was a great vehicle to drive, but I would never tell any of my friends to buy one. No, that's not no. And then they put the X3, GV70, GLC, Porsche Macan, XC60. What else is there?
There's not much. I don't know if your favorite, the Buick Envision,
No,
could qualify
that's
on that
not part of
list, but
luxury SUV. That's just compact
that's just
SUV.
compact.
Yeah,
Okay, but that is, if say the Buick Envision, that's too oddball. You put the Stelvio Quadrifoglio in there, like that's not really oddball. The Audi Q5 could have been on there again. Who had Audi pissed off car and driver because they picked the only other choice, which was the Quadrifoglio, over your Q5, and there's nothing wrong with the Q5. There's really nothing wrong. The interior is gorgeous. The car is so well built. The 2-liter is efficient. It's smooth. It's powerful. It's quiet. Uh, I can't
yeah.
fault that car very much, and they're not even priced poorly.
It's really not like the. I get the GV70. The GV70 is good. The X3, the update made it a little bit better. I don't think all of the X3 is in there. The M40, yes, but the base engine didn't get an upgrade. The GLC is so old now that I just don't think it should be here. Macan,
You know what?
yes,
They probably like, well, we didn't put the GLC coupe in here or the X4 in here.
yeah,
It's
no, that should be another segment of dumb useless cars that no one should buy.
don't buy this.
All right,
Yeah.
mid-size SUVs, another great section here filled with how many cars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 vehicles.
9 top picks. Like,
So,
man, what is not a top pick these days? And like, where do you draw the line? Like, I feel like you really should have maybe 2 in each segment. Like that should be the cap.
I'm going to go over these one by one because these are great. So a mid-size SUV, Ford Bronco. Okay, I'm okay with that. Right? You're good with that?
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. All right. Honda Passport. What? No, for like a tad more money, you can get the Pilot, which is a much better vehicle.
It's in the same segment too. That's what boggles my mind.
No, don't get the Passport.
Is it even more money?
It's a little bit more money. It is.
Yeah.
But no, the Passport should not be in here.
Even in their own verdict, they're like, it's not particularly special. Like unremarkable driving experience.
Like, yeah.
This isn't your top pick.
And then their verdict: the Passport is a very practical and nicely equipped mid-size SUV, but it's not particularly special.
You know what's better and practicality and equipment? The Pilot.
The Pilot? Yeah. The Passport really shouldn't be in here. Palisade. I get it. The Palisade's pretty good overall. So I'm fine with that.
No arguments there.
No. Santa Fe, the update did do it pretty well. I like the hybrid versions of it. I'm okay with that. Jeep Grand Cherokee, yeah, the new one on paper looks really good. Haven't seen one in person, so not too sure.
Yeah, you saw the Grand Cherokee L.
Yeah, the Grand Cherokee L, which is the next thing on the list, also good vehicle. So I'm
Very
okay with that.
impressive.
I'm okay with that. Kia Sorrento. The Sorrento is okay. I feel like the Santa Fe is a better vehicle overall than the Sorrento.
Yeah.
Because
They really like Kia in this list.
they do. Because
They
they
really
also
like
have the
Hyundai and
Telluride.
Kia.
They also have the Telluride in here.
Yeah.
Telluride, once again, very similar to the Palisade. I get it. And then they have the CX-9, which I know you're not a big fan of in terms of a midsize SUV. I do like the way that it drives, the way that it looks, but I must admit, if I'm suggesting it to like someone that needs a 3-row SUV, it's not going to be someone
It's
that I'm
definitely
going to.
not on the top of my any list. They left out the Highlander Hybrid, which I feel like, come on, like that thing's sales numbers speak for itself.
Yeah, the Highlander is much better than a Passport. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like who? I think Toyota just doesn't care, and so they probably went to Toyota. Hey, want to pay us a little bit of payola, and we will put you on our list. Toyota's like, we have no problem selling our cars as is.
I don't need
Why
your
don't you go? Why
list.
don't you go ask Mazda if they want your advertising budget?
I don't need your list. Yeah, midsize it. All right, midsize luxury SUVs. There's 4 of these. So they got the X5, the GV80, the Cayenne, and the XC90. Good spec there. I don't think I would disagree.
Okay, so they left out
No,
Audi, they left out Range Rover, they left out Mercedes.
yeah, I think I know for a fact that Volvo did pay for advertising on their page because when you click on electric vehicles on Car and Driver before, it wasn't just a blank, it was an XC40.
Because the XC90 is not that competitive anymore.
No.
Like I think this body style when it came out was kind of special.
Yeah.
4 years ago, but they haven't really moved the needle so far. Like the infotainment was decent back in the day, but now it's like kind of dated.
For 2022, I think it's updated to Android Auto now. Not Android Auto.
Oh, it's an Android-based system.
OS,
yes.
Like XC90, I don't have any problems with it, but in that competitive segment, there are better
GLE
options.
is very nice.
The GLE's it's okay. It has some like a lot of Mercedes that I've been driving. They have just like materials inside that creaks and rattles. It just doesn't.
I don't think that is on the criteria for this. Like based on this list so far.
I don't even know what the criteria is for this.
The criteria is so random, but like, okay, if you want like a good luxury SUV, like Range Rover, reliability is typically not on the list. Like it's not really like a review criteria necessarily. So I feel like not having a single Land Rover Range Rover model is kind of a missed opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Discovery. I mean,
and then full size SUV. I mean, it's clear who paid off Car and Driver and who didn't because there's three spots for full size SUV, and all 3 are the same car.
Suburban, Tahoe, and the Yukon. I mean,
they're all the same.
I think the Yukon and Yukon XL is just labeled under the Yukon. Maybe that's why they don't have another spot for the Yukon XL.
If they had a 4th spot, it would have been the Yukon
XL. So yeah, I'm whatever. I mean, like when it comes to full size SUV, let's be honest. There's the Expedition, and then the
How
Sequoia.
You know that they paid them off is if we wait for 2023's list to come out and the Sequoia is not on there, then you can guarantee
it's
the
been
GM paid their way on. Because if you have these 3 on there and the Sequoia is not on there, then you're definitely missing the plot.
For the full-size luxury SUV, you got the X7.
Only one.
Yeah, so you only got one, and it's just the X7. Which, you know what? I've driven the GLS 63 as well as an Alpina X7. I must agree. Like the BMWs, they definitely did it better. They definitely did better than the GLS did.
We're a Range Rover though.
But for full size, they don't really have a 3-row.
The full size Range Rover. Well, it doesn't say 3-row.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And then Lexus just released again. Toyota. Who did you piss off? Because the LS600 just came out, like a huge upgrade on the LS600, which I guess would be a full size luxury SUV. No,
it should be, yeah.
And that thing is nice.
Not as nice as the X7, according to Car and Driver.
Apparently, but
the compact pickup truck. There are only 2 available in the market, so let's put both of them in here.
I don't know what. Okay, because they had to have created this list and like how many spots there are this year, because the compact pickup truck didn't exist last year. So they made this. They decided, let's make this a new category. Yeah. And let's just put everything in it.
Put both of them in there.
These are the only cars available. I can't argue with either because they're both on there.
I mean, they're both. I haven't driven the Maverick, but from what I've seen so far, the Maverick looks good. The Santa Cruz I did like, but as a pickup truck, it's so useless as a pickup. Like, it needs to do more as a pickup. To be an actual pickup.
The mid-size pickup truck, for mid-size pickup truck, there's only one.
Yeah.
Ironically, so it's like compact pickup truck is a new non-existent segment, and there's 2 in there. Mid-size pickup truck, hugely popular segment, only one.
Only one.
It's a hugely, because the Tacoma sells really well. They sell a decent amount of Gladiators. They sell a lot of GMs, the Colorado and the Canyon. They sell a decent amount of Rangers, way more so than a Maverick or Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
like the segment is 100 times bigger, but there's only one in this category. Why? Because Honda paid. Because whoever put the Passport on this list also put the Ridgeline on the list. Nothing wrong with the Ridgeline, but I feel like there should be at least one other truck on this list.
All right,
and the Ridgeline is not the standout in this category.
I gotta say, I love the Ridgeline. All right,
I do as well.
All right, it's a great mid-size pickup truck for someone that doesn't need a truck. All right, it really is. But when you have a mid-size pickup truck market, and you're like an auto magazine aimed for the U.S. market, you have to put something that's an actual pickup in here. Let's be honest.
Yeah, like the actual one that people consider when they're shopping in this segment. Again, Tacoma, Gladiator, Ranger, Colorado,
Frontier, the brand new.
These are all like decent contenders, and you've only left room for one. Again, Toyota, who did you piss off? Because
all right, full-size pickup truck. We got the F-150, we got the Raptor, we got the 1500, and we got the TRX. So essentially, we got Stellantis and Ford.
Yeah,
Chevy didn't make this list.
Yeah, they didn't pay it off enough.
Yeah,
they can only afford the SUV segment, even though they're basically the same truck. Their SUVs are really good. The trucks are not so good, even though they updated their truck.
Maybe because the interior wasn't updated until 2022. Maybe that's why.
This is a 2022 list, though.
Okay, I retract my statement.
Because it's the new Raptor. It's the new Raptor. It's the new TRX. It's the new F-150 hybrid. So the Silverado does have the update.
Yeah, they did get the update for 2022.
But let's not give it any spots of GM here. It doesn't make sense to put the TRX the least relevant. Like, why is the TRX even on here? Because it's such a no one who needs the full-size pickup truck is buying a TRX. That it's strictly a toy, and it's such an expensive one at that.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's the best thing ever. When I drove it, it showed me 8 miles per gallon. I don't
see, the problem with this list is that it by including these, they're excluding others, and that implies that a TRX is a more sound choice than a 2022 Silverado
It
or the
sure
new
is.
Tundra. Again, the Tundra that just got the
No,
huge update.
the Tundra is garbage compared to my
Again, Toyota.
TRX.
What did you do, Toyota?
Does the Tundra have 707 horsepower? It doesn't. That's why it's not on this list. Moving on. We got the heavy duty pickup truck winner, which is the Ram 2500. No Silverado, no Ford. I I don't
I
know
don't
much
know enough about heavy duties.
yeah,
To
I
know
really
what's good.
don't. I just know that there's three of them and they all have this towing war, which can tow more than like 1,000,000 pounds or whatever. That's all I know.
I know they have the Cummins diesel, which I guess people really like.
Yeah, the
City van.
city van.
A
What
segment of one.
is there anything else other than the
Like
Metris?
ProMaster, maybe?
The ProMaster
No.
is more like a
The
full size
Transit
van.
two the small 250
Transit
or whatever.
Connect is not really a city van. It's more like
It's a cargo van. Like
yeah, with
okay,
seats
skipping
in it.
city van because I just don't have any input there.
Yeah,
But
it's a Metris.
minivan is also a very egregious. Like it's so obvious that they really, really don't want to put Toyota on here. And I'm gonna flip through I'm gonna pick up a Car and Driver magazine and flip through to see if there's any ads for Toyota because there is no way you have a top minivan list and you don't include the Sienna. Instead, they put the Odyssey on there, which is so dated. The Carnival, which is it's okay, like it's a decent van, but it's like I would still pick a Sienna over it.
Yeah, I the Pacifica I get. It's very expensive though for the model that I like. Um, the Odyssey, like you said, it is pretty dated. I actually have a 2022 Odyssey booked. I want to see if that was any improvements
It
throughout the
still uses
years.
double the fuel as a Sienna, though.
Oh, absolutely.
That
And
that is the thing that like, how can you not put that on there? And it's okay. So Tundra, I kind of get it. Borderline, it was like 2010, 2020. Like you didn't have a production model to review yet, but Sienna's been out for a while now.
yeah,
Like there's no reason you don't include that. And I think this is the most obvious list or category that they're purposely messing with Toyota now.
yeah, just leaving Toyota out for sure.
Yeah.
Full size van, they have the Ford Transit. I got nothing to say about that. I'm sure you don't have anything neither. And then you have the electric vehicles, the electric SUVs, not electric cars, mind you, because I guess
That's a different segment. That's a different segment.
there's no
Of
electric
one.
cars.
There is
Yeah,
one.
there's Tesla Model 3, and
It's a
that's
Model
it.
3. There's only one.
So
But electric SUV
you got
basically put everything in here.
you, you got the Mustang Mach-E, the Ioniq 5, the Kona Electric, and the ID4. The EV6 isn't on here because it's not something you could attain. The Ioniq 5 is on sale first, which is why I made the list.
Is a Bolt EUV an electric SUV?
Kind of, I guess, because it's classified as a SUV. So the Bolt isn't on here. I mean, because it's probably up in flames somewhere. What else? That's really it.
I think they put just about everything they
I
could
mean,
in there.
the only thing that else is like the Tesla, but you can kind of consider that as a luxury.
That might be
electric.
luxury. By
Yeah,
by Model Y price, it's luxury now.
yeah, 100K. Yeah,
It's more than Audi the Q4, so it is.
yeah.
Nero is not really an SUV, nor is it that competitive. Okay, fair enough. There's not really anything to
Yeah.
compare here. MX-30? No, I'm just kidding.
No, let's
If we
move on.
put the MX-30 on here, then we know this list is
Maz-
full of crap.
Yeah, no, MX-30. I
Yeah.
stand by that car. It's fine for certain people, not for a lot.
Certain people that like, if you live in a vacuum, like if you don't know that anything else exists, perfectly fine. But because other vehicles exist and money is interchangeable,
There's actually really good incentives on the MX-30. I learned that from a dealer locally.
you're
That
gonna
if
buy.
no, I asked because I have a friend at a local dealer. I was like, hey, I know the MX-30 isn't going to be doing that well because of the price. They're like, we got incentives, and essentially with the tax rebates and everything, You can probably get one, maybe around 30. Find me
I
another.
still don't want it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Luxury electric SUV. BMW iX, which you can't get. Not yet, anyways. I haven't seen one on the road.
Yeah, what the hell? Why is the IX on here?
I don't get it. I mean, it's technically there should be
I
either
think
the
because
Tesla.
they couldn't put all Tesla.
They didn't put any Tesla.
No, Tesla's in other parts of this list.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there's. Wait.
They're on there twice actually.
There's more cars underneath. Oh, I didn't know.
There's a lot of cars. This list of
I,
the quote unquote best cars includes 80% of the cars on the market minus Toyota.
Yeah. I only went through half the list, and I thought the page was
the
over
list
because I
is
saw
so
an ad.
long. Like they literally included everyone.
All right, I'm gonna skip. So it's iX Rivian R1T. Fine. All right. Subcompact. What are you giving me? Hyundai Accent and Kia Rio. Those are the only two on the market.
The Sentra.
Sentra's not a subcompact.
Oh, right, Versa.
Do they still make the Versa?
They make
sedan?
a Versa sedan, yeah.
Oh,
but I guess that's how memorable it is.
Yeah. All right. Subcompact,
Right.
fine. Compact car: Honda Civic, Civic Si, Mazda 3, Elantra N, not the regular Elantra, mind you.
Oh, you rolled it in with sport compact. So there's a sport segment.
Oh,
and then
there's
a compact segment.
Oh, okay. So compact car, only the Civic and Mazda 3. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Those are the two best in the segment. Let's be honest. No one's gonna buy a Sentra. No one's buying Corolla.
We can tell by your view counts, J.Mak reviews. Like that's your most popular video, is it not? Like,
it's doing very well.
And
I'm very happy about
even
that
as a Toyota fanboy, I have no qualms about them leaving the Corolla out of this list because the Corolla is hot garbage.
So I'm okay with that. Yeah, there's nothing really else, right? Yeah, there's really Elantra. It's kind of whatever. Anyways, moving on. Subcompact, Civic Si,
Sport compact.
Sport compact. What did I say?
Subcompact.
Dyslexic. Anyways,
they included every model possible.
Civic Si, Elantra N, Veloster N, GTI, Golf R, GLI.
So 2 of the cars have the same engine. 3 of the cars have the same engine. There's really only 3 cars, but they couldn't narrow it down to 3 cars. They had to put 6 and just stretch it out. We put the Elantra and the Veloster in here. We'll put the GTI R and the GLI in here. And it's like, okay, you're really like grasping at straws here.
Sport compact. I think that's really
what
it
else is even
WRX?
in this segment. Oh, Yahoo! Subaru too. You know what? It's because Toyota owns part of Subaru.
They're mad at that part. They're like, no. You're
because
not getting
I would take
list.
a WRX over a GLI.
I looked at GLI pricing. It's super attractive.
WRX pricing is good too. So WRX lease rates are really good.
But yeah, like if you're not talking about leasing, if you're talking about like just the price of a GLI, is redonkulous how good a GLI is. So I can kind of understand, but I would replace the WRX with the Veloster N because I don't think Veloster N really deserves a space here.
Veloster N is so fun.
It's fun, but for the price that you're paying for a Veloster N, it's not worth it because it's priced higher than the GTI and it's priced almost the same as a Golf R.
The next segment is a funny one too because it's like there's only like 4 choices and there's room for 3 in
entry luxury
compact car.
So they have the A3
compact
S3
sedan
and 2 Series, but they have the 2 Series is like the rear-wheel drive, not the Grand Coupe.
The coupe, the 2-door version, not the front-wheel drive base.
So they don't have the Mercedes, the A class in here, and the CLA.
Which, honestly, I would take an A over a 2 Series, and it's like the A3 and the S3 are the same car, so why go through that length to exclude it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like this feels shady to me.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Family sedan, they got the Accord, the Sonata, the K5. So obviously missing Toyota, but I kind of get it. The Camry's pretty old, right? Also missing
The
the
Accord is pretty old too.
not as old as the Camry though. The Camry's older for sure. Also missing Legacy. The Legacy is actually decent, but who's buying a Legacy these days?
Ultima.
No one's buying the Ultima.
No one's buying the Ultima. Is actually not bad.
It's not bad, but in
But
Canada,
it's got big Ultima energy. I don't know if you followed. There's this like Facebook group. It's like big Ultima energy or something, and it's just like ratchet ass Ultimas. It's worth checking out.
all right, Facebook group to check out.
Yeah.
And then you got the entry luxury car. I don't understand
And
why
the entry point is 60K. Like,
so they got the A5 3 Series and G70. Once again, leaving out the C Class, which the C Class, yes, there's
C Class is the oldest in the class.
Yeah, there's an update, but it's not out yet.
It's not out. That one is fair.
Yeah.
Did they leave? They left the IS out, which, meh.
Fair.
Yeah, TLX. Does that count?
No, I don't think it should.
It's not up to par with the Germans. How about the Q50? No, Q50. Okay, I don't even know why I mentioned that.
Q50. Do they still sell those? Sports sedan, your favorite, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio.
No one buys this, but Stellantis paid to have 3 of their trucks in the full-size truck segment that were all the same truck. So let's cut them some slack here.
And then they got the M3, M4, CT4V Blackwing as sports sedans and sports coupes. Oh, and the Mercedes C43.
They've mingled them in there. The C43 to me is
I like the 40
because there's no competitor.
I like the
Audi's kind
engine.
of abandoned it. The 43 engine is nice. The shape is not bad.
Yeah. But it's old.
It's old. I feel like I guess coupe they have to be like 2+2 though.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
The Supra.
Oh.
But the Supra is actually on this list. I did look through this list, so
I was thinking actually like I wouldn't mind the like a 440i.
It's too ugly.
But the M4 is on here.
The M4 looks way better. No. The M4 in person looks way better than a 440i. Just because it has the same grille, but it's got more aggression to back it up.
All right.
Cadillac doesn't make anything. Infinity, the Red Sport, if you want to count it.
Q60 really doesn't. Like it looks good, but no.
The TT is so old, but it's like, yeah.
All right. Premium sports sedan. You got the RS7, M5, CT5V Blackwing. Okay.
The CT5V Blackwing picture looks like it's out of Forza Motorsport.
It's drifting around.
Me? No. Just the way that it's rendered.
No,
I have no real complaints on it. I don't think there is. Actually, is there one obvious car that they left out?
Sports sedan.
Sports sedan.
Premium sports sedan.
Premium. Okay, so it's not really premium so much. It's like bigger.
Big body,
full size.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Would a Panamera be?
No, I think that'd be another.
It's a very confusing list.
Yeah.
It's a very confusing list, and I don't see how this adds any value to anyone who's like shopping in this segment or in the market for a car. Like, I'm gonna only look at what Car and Driver tells me to. Mid-size luxury car.
Mid-size luxury car. They have the A6, A7, Genesis G80, Mercedes E53, Mercedes E-Class. So basically everyone other than BMW.
Yeah, I feel like you pay to play in this list because Mercedes, like, you know what? We don't really care. The C-Class sells itself. People who want it will buy it. GLE sells itself. The E-Class is one of these cars that maybe doesn't sell itself. So let's pay to have it on here twice because I would have thought an E53 fell under the E-Class umbrella. But
E53 because it's under the Mercedes AMG name, not Mercedes-Benz name. It's
Oh,
different.
but they didn't put the AMG GT 4-door on here, which kind of would make more sense
Ugh.
as like a different model. Um,
Uh,
confusing.
then they have full size luxury car. This one they have A8. Whoever thought to buy an Audi
Someone who doesn't know Lexus exists.
A8? Like G90, fine. S
S
class,
class, it's the gold standard.
yeah,
You can't
totally get it.
complain about that. But yeah, the LS 600 is really nice.
Yeah, also
I
really
feel like
expensive.
that needs to be on this. It's not that expensive, like compared to.
Oh, I was adding on all the options on the Lexus, and I was like, oh, that gets pricey.
It gets pricey, but it's like not German
Oh,
money.
it's not. It's definitely not German money.
It's
Like,
not German money, and it's built to last like half a century.
yeah,
And so, uh, again, Toyota. I guess they just don't care. But that is a car that they could use some motivation in selling. I feel like.
and then they got a station wagon, which is the Outback.
It's a class of one, so they had no choice. Even though they don't like Subaru very much, they had no choice
Yeah,
but to put it in here.
there is no one else.
No one makes a long roof wagon, and the Outback is slowly being phased out as like not really a wagon anymore
Yeah, it's
because it keeps
considered
getting
as an
taller
SUV.
and
Yeah,
longer. And Volkswagen pulled out, so they're on their own.
I love the next section, which is the luxury station wagon. So they have
Yeah,
the
which is
A6
not
All-Road,
really a prominent segment.
but they have the A6 All-Road, RS6, E-Class All-Terrain, V60, Cross Country V60, and V90. This is all of the luxury station wagons you can buy.
Yeah.
Every single one, minus Porsche and whatnot. But like,
If you count those, yeah, but those are
Mercedes
kind of
only have the
different.
E-Class all-terrain wagon. The E63 is no more. You can't buy a V90 regular station wagon. So like they put everything on the list, every single car. Then you got the electric car. I guess that's just the best electric car that I think of, which is a Tesla Model 3. Luxury electric car is the Taycan. Luxury electric car, they also put the Taycan Cross Turismo. Fine. And then they have the EQS as well, along with another EQ. Oh, it's the Mercedes AMG EQS and the regular.
These two are literally the same car. They're not even like.
And
There's
then
no
Tesla
real
Model
performance
S.
difference. So the one that's not on here, I guess, is the Audi e-tron, but it is just a Taycan. So
Oh, yeah.
no,
It's the
the
same thing.
one that's not on here, which is very important, is a Lucid Air. Why is it not on here? It's Motor Trend's Car of the Year.
Yeah,
So
they
Car and
can't agree.
Driver is Car and Driver. Everyone who's reviewed that car says it's better in the EQS, better in the Model S, but we can't put it on this list because Motor Trend already took that. We can't be on the same page. So we're gonna recommend everything but what they recommended.
Then they put muscle car. They have the Camaro, Mustang, and Shelby GT500. But for the Camaro, it's only the ZL1. So like,
Odd.
if you buy regular Camaros, you're not good enough to be on this list. But you can buy regular Mustang. That's okay. That doesn't make sense. Affordable sports cars. They got the only three that you can buy, which is the Miata BRZ and the GR86. Sure. Sports cars. You got the Corvette, Boxster, Cayman, and Supra. Premium sports cars.
That's everything too.
Premium. Oh my god. Premium sports cars. They have the 911 list. They have the Porsche 911, the 911 Turbo, the 911 Turbo S, the 911 GT3. What other 911s aren't there?
That's all. So this segment, premium sports car. I guess the sky's the limit here because the Turbo S is GT3. Like these are over $200,000. So I don't think there's a price cap in this category because this is the highest category they have. Now they neglect to mention anything from McLaren. You know what it is? I bet it's got to do with like press fleets, and it's not so much about paying them off, but it's like, hey, that guy was really nice to me. He bought me Starbucks this year, so let's put them on here.
Okay, so the 911 list, I'm just going to say, you don't buy a 911 4, don't buy a 911S, don't buy a 911 4S, don't buy a GTS, and don't buy Targa.
No, those fall under the first one, which is just 911.
Do they actually?
Yeah, because they don't say like Carrera or anything,
Oh
so
gosh.
that is like all 911s. So anything from 911 is a good premium sports car, but that like I don't know how you can make a list
Dude,
like that and neglect everyone.
the list from last year is exactly the same cars.
Oh, Passport.
Yeah, Bronco, Passport, Palisade, Santa Fe, Sorrento,
Oh my god,
Telluride, CX9,
the
X5.
six.
It's exactly the same cars. Suburban, Tahoe, Yukon, except they didn't.
Oh my god.
Mid-size pickup. Gladiator was on there last year.
So they just changed the segment to exclude one
Gla-
car. Like they just downsized it to one. Heavy duty had its own segment.
no Raptor. No, heavy duty still has its own segment.
Yeah.
Uh no Carnival because Carnival wasn't available.
So it's
Electric
really
SUVs
you
were
pay to
limited.
be included on this list. Like they will change
It's
the
the exact same.
size
Oh,
of the list to fit.
Elantra was here last year.
It's the same Elantra.
Elantra wasn't on the list this year. Oh, Golf was on the list last year. Guess they don't like the Golf 8.
No, it's a Taos now. They don't have a. That's a sport. They did put the Golf because we only have the GTI
Oh,
now. There's no
right.
base Golf,
You
so they
can't buy
did
a
put it
base.
all on there.
Oh, they had the
Uh
A class and the CLA last year for entry
oh.
level luxury compact
Wow,
vehicles.
this year none of the Mercedes made it on. Now
Oh, they
that's
had
consistency. No, because it's A3, S3, and 2 series now.
yeah,
So they eliminated Mercedes completely
yep,
for 2022. Like they're still making the same cars.
yep.
Like this
It's just
is the
not as
most
good this
bizarre
year.
list.
It's just not as good. The other cars that
Oh
also didn't change are better. Yeah,
my gosh.
A7, E class, A8, same thing. G90 S class, Outback, All Road,
Wow.
E60, exact same.
This list is just such a joke.
Also,
Like
once again, ZL1 Mustang and GT500, Corvette, Miata. Oh, last year's
oh
affordable sports cars didn't include the BRZ and
but what's
GT86.
the premium sports car?
The,
911 and a 911.
yeah,
I like how this year they're like, you know what? We have room for three
yeah.
premium sports cars,
Let's put
and
the
then let's add
GT4
one
on
more
there.
911 on the list.
All right, I know we're going a little longer here than we really should, but I
Oh
want to take a
no,
look at 2018 or 2019 here. Stelvio Quadrifoglio,
they really like that car.
Q7, X1, X2, X3, X5,
They just
Suburban.
listed everything.
It's the exact same vehicles. Transit. Oh no,
It
Transit.
is.
How did a Transit Connect get on your list? CRV.
No, because in 2019, the Transit Connect was better than the Metris. But in 2022, even though neither car had changed, the Metris is now better.
The I-Pace made it on the list.
Hmm. Gladiator's
Gladiator.
still on there. It's not like they didn't know the Gladiator existed.
So the Gladiator was on there, but the oh no, did they put the Ridgeline? Let me scroll back up. Nope,
They
Ridgeline's here
did.
as
They
well.
did.
Yep. Okay. Sportage was better back then. Okay. Tell you Urius.
Urus, Lamborghini Urus is on this list.
Yeah. CX5, CX9, Wrangler.
I bet the Lambo guy was like, "You guys can review the Urus if you put it on your editor."
Yeah. Let me
And then next year they take it off. We didn't get an Urus in 2020. Bye,
yeah,
Felicia.
they have they have the kicks on here, which is actually one of our most liked vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So don't mind that.
Yeah.
Oh, Ascent. I guess this. Oh, Forester.
Forester was on there.
Atlas, really?
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of Volvos. Yeah, you're right. As you scroll past Volvo, there's an ad for Volvo.
like
Volvo
right.
is a long. There's two ads for Volvo.
Yeah.
So Volvo's been. I think that just about sums it up, which is you pay to play to get on this list. This
Yeah.
list is worthless. Please don't review it. I don't know why we gave it half an hour of our time.
Because it's hilarious.
Okay, like so just to recap, not a single Acura, Infiniti, Nissan, or Lexus product on this list. No Lucid Air, no Jaguar, no Land Rover. pretty shocking list, but I guess I'm not shocked.
I'm okay with some of those. Like Acura doesn't have a really compelling product,
Why? How could the NX not be on a list? The NX is
but
really, really
but
good.
the NX hasn't been released yet for the new one, I
It
guess.
has. I did a dash cam on one last month.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's me. Like that's not
oh,
what they have access to review.
well, I don't have access to one.
Again, they put cars on. That argument does not exist because they put cars on this list that haven't really like made it to market yet either.
Yeah, it's also
So
true.
so how could you not put the NX again?
Yeah,
Toyota, because
the
they don't
BMW
spend.
iX.
Oh, we're getting an ad for Mazda, which is why the CX-9 made it on there.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
The CX-9, CX-5, CX-30, MX-5.
Yeah, Volvo.
They couldn't BS the MX-30 like that. That would be too obvious if they put it on there. So everything but the CX-30 is on the list.
MX-30.
Mazda, or yeah, MX-30, yeah. But everything is on there. CX-5, yeah,
Yeah. In the US, they don't sell the CX-3, so
yeah,
that can't be on the list.
and the 6 is no more.
Yeah, they
So
killed out the 6. Yeah.
every model of Mazda is on the list, minus the MX-30. That is can you imagine a review list where Toyota doesn't make the cut anywhere except for the RAV4 and the Supra, which they don't even make, are the only ones on there, and every Mazda model short of the MX-30 is like, how?
No,
I
I
feel
can't.
like that needs to be our thumbnail for this week's YouTube.
Mazda paid me to say this, but I think that suits right. Yeah, every single Mazda is better than Toyota. Yeah, yeah. I like my money from Mazda now. Actually, just hand out my PayPal. Anyways, I think that's really it for today. We definitely got a lot longer than we should have, but thank you so much for watching and going through this hilarious list with us. We'll do it again next year. We'll see what's available.
Yeah,
I
it's a good thing we
doubt.
pointed it out now.
I
If the Sienna doesn't make it, if the Sequoia doesn't make it, if the Sienna doesn't make it back on, and the Tundra doesn't make it on the list, like, man.
Tundra's not going to make it. I can tell you that for sure. In any case, thank you so much for watching and so much for listening. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care, guys.
Catch you next week.